up? This is Kevin Lackey with the RFN podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I'm super excited today because I've got a guest with me, a young man that I've gotten to know over about the last year, and he's just super impressive. He's 22 years old, and he has this very entrepreneurial mindset, but so professional, so much pride in what he does. And so I've asked him to come be a part of the show because I think that it's super important as I am trying to bring new episodes to people, that what I'm working on doing is bringing great information, experiences, and just different types of people and different businesses in different chapters of life, different stages of their journey. And so in the first episode, I said I'm not going to just bring, over and over the same types of people and the same businesses, a bunch of people who've made a bunch of money and already kind of rung the bell, and they're on the end of their professional journey and can talk about all those exciting things. I want to talk to people who are in the middle of that journey and at the beginning of that journey. In my opinion, this young man, Frank Jackson, is just at the very beginning of that journey. So welcome to the podcast, Frank. Yeah. Hey, you're welcome, man. So Frank, you're 22 years old, currently attending Arlington Baptist University, trying to get your business degree. And I want to talk about that a little bit, what drives you and motivates you to want to do that. And you're the owner of Frank's Detailing, and you have an automobile detailing service. Lots of high end though. You're on the higher end of auto detailing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you don't have to call me yes, sir, dude. I'm trying to be young, dude. You just,
all right,
I'm trying. Yeah. Don't worry about the sirs. I appreciate it. I say yes, sir, all the time, and I get in trouble. People say don't say yes, sir, but man, we're just here having a great time and conversation. So let's just jump right in, and I want you to just kind of tell me a little bit about who you are. Who is Frank Jackson? All the stuff, like you're going to school, where do you come from? How did you start in your detailing business? Like, why don't you give us a little bit of background about you?
Yes, sir. So originally from San Antonio, grew up with my mom, a single mom. She worked hard for everything we had. Some nights I would have to stay with my grandparents, because she had her job, and she just always did what she had to do to make sure that I had what I needed. Through that, I really instilled, a very hardworking mindset. My grandparents, my grandfather is an ex-Marine, and so he instilled, that hard-working, disciplined mindset in me as well. Always taught me good morals and values, and that just kind of stuck with me, throughout my life and, into college. I originally got a scholarship to play baseball at Arlington Baptist, so we just finished that up. I have one more semester there. Starting, with my whole business, I worked at Sonic when I was 17. I worked there for a couple months as a car hop.
Yeah.
And I got fired.
The dude car hop.
You
should have got fired, man.
I know.
Yeah. Why'd you get fired?
They didn't like me because, what I would do is I realized that, as a car hop, you got paid around like $4 an hour.
Yeah.
But all your money was made through tips. And so what I would do is, we had a little scanner thing on our hand, and every time an order would be up, you had to go scan it, and I would stand right there by the scanner.
Trying to get as many orders as you can.
Get as many orders as I can.
Yeah.
And then come, closing time, which at that time, they had the happy hour for milkshakes around, it was like 8 to 10, I believe.
Yeah.
And people would just pile in and get their milkshakes for half price. But around that time is whenever we'd have to start cleaning and doing, closing jobs. So what I would do is I realized, like, hey, if I pay this person $10 to do my job, I can make like $40-$50, going out and getting tips.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. They started catching on, and eventually it just came to the point to where, they said, well, we're not going to put you on the schedule anymore, but you're not fired. So I kind of took that as
time to part
ways. Yes, sir.
So, I mean, that's an interesting and funny story just in itself. I mean, I gotta dig into that just a little bit more. So you realize quickly that you can, make more money by going out and serving, right? Like doing your deal. You're there to make things happen, to serve customers because you want to make tips. $4 an hour cleaning doesn't really work.
No.
I mean, it's a part of the gig, but at $4 an hour, if you're paid to be a server or, you're out serving, then you wanted to maximize your opportunity. So you started delegating out and then said, I can make 4 times on my money
Yes.
by doing that. One of the things that's interesting just about Sonic, and then we'll move on, but is like I've always felt terrible because when I use a debit card, you can't tip, and I never carry cash. Like, is that hard? I mean, do people make good tips at Sonic? Like, since you can't tip that way?
It just depends. I'd bring home anywhere from 30 to 60 a night, and that'd probably be around an 8-hour shift. So it wasn't the best, but I'm telling you, that happy hour for the milkshakes,
they go crazy.
They did. Like during happy hour from 2 to 4, you're not getting that much tips because people are wanting those cheap drinks. But come that milkshake happy hour, man, I don't know.
Man, I didn't have milkshake happy hour in my business. Maybe you should do that at Frank's Detail, like milkshake happy hour with a detail. I guess people get excited about small things, but hey, good on Sonic. They've got it figured out. So, so you started there, and then so what brought your mindset to going out and doing your own thing? I mean, you got fired, and then what happened?
Yeah, so I went a couple of months, just unemployed and still in high school at this point. My parents would tell me to, go apply at jobs, and like whenever I worked at Sonic, I realized that I didn't want to work for someone because that was like the worst job. Having just to work for, especially in like the fast food industry, it was just terrible. And coming from a small town of Mineral Wells, Texas, there were pretty much fast food jobs, or you had to have a college degree to get a service job or something in the industry.
Yeah.
So I would go to some of these places, and I would tell my parents I'm applying, but in reality I wouldn't really apply.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't want to work for someone.
So did you already in your mind and your background already was thinking I want to go do my own thing?
I wasn't there yet. I just knew that I didn't want to work for someone.
Yeah.
And my mom, she says, that she knew I was an entrepreneur, but I just think she really wanted me to start making money.
Yeah.
So,
get a job, pick up some responsibilities, help contribute to the house.
Exactly, a little bit. And at that age, I didn't realize that.
It was important.
It was important. Yeah, I didn't realize that. So one day, backstory. I had a 2000 Dodge Ram, and I would always clean it.
Yeah.
It was always clean. We lived on a dirt road, so every time I clean it, it'd get dirty. So at least twice a week, I was cleaning it. And she told me one day, she said, "Frank, why don't you just make a Facebook page? Why don't you just make a Facebook page? You call it Frank's Detailing.
Yeah.
Just start posting pictures of your truck whenever you do it. You can do my car, Dad's truck." And that's what I did, actually. I made a Facebook page, posted my truck, posted my parents' cars. I would purposely make my mom's car dirty on the inside just to clean it, just to post before and after pictures. And from there, it was like the first or second day, I had a guy out in Weatherford, Texas, message me, and he had 5 cars.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, I did those cars for I think $150, all of them.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't have any.
Hey, that's you learn.
Exactly.
I
didn't know anything about pricing. But after that, I was like, man, I can actually do this. So, I started taking pictures, started posting every day. And, slowly but surely, it started growing.
So do you think you were born to be an entrepreneur, or did you learn to be an entrepreneur? This is like a debate that no one really I've ever heard can say that they can answer. So did you have this entrepreneur mindset when you were younger, or did it just kind of develop as you started to realize I don't really want to work for someone else, especially in like a food service industry, which is natural. It's not fun, being young and going, the jobs opportunities are probably going to be less desirable. But it's a part of building your character, going through those things and working in jobs, different types of jobs. But do you think your entrepreneur mindset just started to develop as your mom suggested that, and then you started posting, and then you started building some confidence? Or do you believe in your heart that you were born to be an entrepreneur?
I believe a little bit of both. I believe that, some people are born to be entrepreneurs, just the way, their mindset is. But then again, some people don't realize it. And then they just stay confused and they stay conflicted with themselves, why am I still at this job? When I know I can be doing better for myself. They just don't have that push. Like my mom was my push, to really start developing that mindset. So I do believe that I was born like that. Because I always have had the mindset, that I want to do it, and I want to be the leader. I want to be the one doing things. If something fails, I want it to be my fault, because I'm always involved in things.
In sports and stuff, were you always stepping up as a leader,
Yes,
like
sir.
first one to do, like, hey, I want to be the leader? And
Yes.
yeah, I when I was younger, I think that this is probably not the best way to do things, but like I either wanted to be the leader or I just didn't want to be there. It's always that way. A lot of people just didn't care, and it wasn't because of ego. It was never because of like I want to be known. It just as the leader, for me, it was like I know that I can give more and do better and be the best, and so I just thought that I was always the right person for that role. And when it didn't happen, which it didn't happen a lot, I remember kind of being like, you're kind of like, I'd get down about it. I'm like, man, like I could do a better job than that dude. I'll give more than that person. So you always had those natural instincts, I guess.
Yes, sir.
To be a leader and to want to like, are you a problem solver?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really like about detailing, because there's no car that's the same. So there's a lot of different variables, no matter, if we're doing, mom's Toyota or we're doing a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Right. There's different variables with each car. And so with that, there are different problems with each car, and you can't use the same techniques on each car to get the same results. So that is one thing I really do like about detailing, is it challenges you to, sometimes you have to think outside the box to get, a certain car looking new again.
So I got a question then. So if you had this mindset, which I think when I listen to you, I see you struggling with trying to find the exact right answer, not like in a bad way, but of going. So like I think you were born with these natural leadership tendencies, and knowing obviously at a young age that you've gone for it, but your mom has pulled that out of you and kind of pushed you, and now you're really starting to develop even more of that entrepreneurial mindset. So there's this like debate on, I don't know if it's social media or in the business world, and people are talking about it more and more just around college and education, and like, how college, why get the debt and spend the time, and if you're an entrepreneur, like, so you went to school, was that to fulfill something that your mom or your parents wanted, or was that something that you wanted for yourself, or you felt like you needed to do, and is it helping you? Has it helped you propel you in your business and where you're going to go?
Yes, sir. So the school debate.
I mean, it's real, right?
It
People
is
are talking
real.
about it all the
No,
time, so
it
I'm
is-
just curious.
It's 100% real. My parents have really pushed me to finish school.
Mm-hmm.
School, like I said, I went for baseball. If we're being completely honest, Kevin,
We're only here to be honest, dude.
I
Don't
know,
bullshit my
I know,
people, bro.
I'm not.
I will bring you dirty cars,
I'm not.
and I'll make you wash all 5 of my cars for $150, and they will be. Me and Dennis will go party in those things. They will be so filthy. So tell me, man. We're not gonna. Your mom's not gonna listen to the Right Fucking Now podcast, okay? So we're not gonna send her the episode.
Okay,
Maybe
okay.
we'll edit one
We'll
for
edit.
her,
Okay.
so she can hear you. She'd be proud of her, Frankie boy.
Okay.
Yo, Frankie, I'm so proud of you. We'll edit it out. We'll
Okay.
edit all this out. We'll just talk about how important she is and special, and all the great things she did to instill in you. Because I want to go back to that, because all that stuff matters. But staying on the school debate, being real. Just tell me where you're at with it, dude. I dropped out of school 10th grade. I went to junior college for like 6 weeks in Weatherford Junior College, and I remember sitting there going, "What am I doing?" And I have kids, and I'm really struggling with the fact that not thinking that I am going to push them to go to school, because there's so many things about school that you get. I mean, you're exposed to other people, and it's a great community type deal, and you get to network, and education, there's nothing wrong with education, but I'm just curious as to, the amount of time and money spent when you already have, this entrepreneurial direction and mindset. Like, so go into it. Tell us the real deal.
Okay. If you have an entrepreneurial mindset and you can do it, like when you go to class and you're bored, you get the concept of school, you get, what the teacher's talking about, but you're just like, why am I here? And you think about it constantly. School's probably not for you, because I hate school, if we're being 100% honest. I've learned some things with like accounting, some basic stuff in my business classes, but other than that, I can never see myself using my history too in the detailing world.
So the most important thing you got out of graduating from college, you graduated just recently?
I have one more semester.
One more semester.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're going to graduate. I know
Mhm.
you will. But probably the biggest thing that you will get from that is the discipline to stick with it.
Yes.
And I do think that one of the things that people miss in this debate, that when I look back at myself is like, learning to have discipline and structure
Yes.
and stuff like that, like being on time and fulfilling, like getting your papers done and whatnot, studying like that. And that does instill disciplines. But maybe it's just like too long and drawn out. I don't know, 20 something years of school. Like if you did it pretty well for the first 10 years, then maybe you can, maybe you can move on. So, okay. So the school deal, again, it's a debate. I'm not going to promote one way or the other. It has to be right for you, but you
Yes.
didn't do it. You answered my question, which is, it sounds like you really didn't do it for you. You didn't have like a burning desire to go to school.
I didn't. No.
Okay.
A lot of it was, I am the first. I think my grandfather graduated college, but other than that, I'll be the first one in the family.
Yeah.
To graduate. So that was part of it. Being able to kind of say that, it's kind of a selfish reason, but
No, I think that's great. I think it's really great that you're able to do, and you're so close that you need to finish it. So you were raised by a single mom.
Yes, sir.
And you were raised obviously very right. She instilled, and you probably saw her work really hard to give you the things.
Yes, sir.
What do you think are the things, like what are a couple things that you, if you reflect back on that maybe you saw in her that has kind of pushed you to be who you are, like this drive to be successful and to do the right thing, and you're young and you're just so focused on the things that matter, and your grandfather being a Marine, like how much of that balance between those two has made you a lot of who you are today?
Yes, sir. So with my mom, I saw a lot of, I don't know the exact term for it, but willingness to do whatever she needed, to take care of her family.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
Yes. Sacrifice. She sacrificed a lot, to make sure that I had everything that I need. So, whenever it was really about like the 19, 20-year-old stage, I kind of realized that, hey, I don't want to have a family until, I'm probably around 30.
Mm-hmm.
So what I need to do now is do what my mom did. I need to make sure that I'm making these sacrifices so that way whenever I do have my family, they'll never be, in the situation that I was. Not saying that.
Yeah, just to go with it. Like
Yeah.
to do without in some ways.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then just the discipline that my mom and my grandfather, my grandfather taught it to my mom, but the discipline that they had, to get things done, to be on time, to be early, if you're not 5 minutes early or late,
Yeah.
Things like that, making sure that, everything I do, it's, you set your goals, you achieve those goals, you stay on track. Like with the college thing, you just got to finish it. If you start something, you have to see it through.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to, you have to, because it's all about finishing and not quitting.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Frank's Detailing? You started down the path of how you got started. Your mom said, "Hey, you're really good at this," and then post some stuff on Facebook. But now it's grown to a real business, right? You're operating. You have employees. You have your own space. You have contracts with dealers. You have multiple cars a week. You're doing a ton of high-end stuff all the time, right?
Sure.
And you have what I would say is this really great brand and reputation where people seek you out, I guess. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
So how do you go from Mineral Wells, which if you don't know where Mineral Wells is, it's like, find the worst place on the map. No, I'm just playing. It's not it's not terrible, but it's a little country town out way west of Fort Worth.
Yes.
Where there's very little high-end cars out there.
Mm-hmm.
Probably very few people who are like getting their vehicles detailed on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving down a dirt road every single day. You start posting on Facebook. How does that then develop to what is a full-blown legitimate business today with employees? And I don't know what your revenues are and stuff like that, but tell us the path, like how all that happened and in the time frame.
Okay. So from the beginning, from about 1 year or year 1 to 2, it was just Mineral Wells. I was still in high school, and that summer going into college, it was a lot of interior details, a lot of really, really, really dirty insides.
Yeah.
Because that's basically.
Were you cleaning a lot of like smoky cars? People,
Yeah.
a lot of smokers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty much all they wanted, because Mineral Wells, it's not the cleanest town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a lot of interior details, but you know what that really taught me was, like that OCD, like that perfectionist, right?
Uh-huh.
If you can perfect, you know, a lot of things that I would tell myself, you know, after doing like the fifth dirty interior detail of the day, you know, I tell myself, all right, Frank, if you can perfect the interior and it's this bad, then the exterior should be nothing to you.
Yeah.
Right. So whenever you get there, you know, you're going to be able to do it. So a lot of it started with, you know, just doing the insides and accepting where you were, you know, not trying to market, you know, the higher end details to, you know, like I don't want to say lower end clientele, but the people who just wanted, you know, interior details.
Everyday driver cars.
Everyday
not
drivers.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it was learning my market and targeting it and hitting it hard. And that's, you know, kind of what I developed, is that ability to find my market and find, you know, okay, when I go to this location, you know, by what I see, by what I look at, by what I read, you know, what's the market looking like? You know, can I advertise paint protection film, or do I just need to advertise our full detail? You know, which one am I going to see a better return on? And so living in that small town, you know, it really helped me, you know, kind of learn, you know, selecting my market and also kind of reading people, you know, because at first, you know, I would always try and push, you know, like my most expensive detail.
Yeah.
And, you know, you start to see, you know, people's face recognition.
Kind of pull away from it. Yeah.
You know, if they start moving their hands or put their hands in their pocket, you know, you start realizing these things. So, you know, that really helped me develop the eye for, you know, whenever I'm talking to a client, you know, I can tell if I'm going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know, and if I need to change lanes and, you know, go a different direction, so that way, you know, we can land this detail and perform it for them, and not only perform it for them, but meet their needs. Because that's one of the biggest things is, you know, meeting the needs of the customer.
Them pulling away, like feeling like $1 million.
Exactly.
That's what you want.
Exactly.
Did you do things to like, that they weren't expecting, where like maybe they paid for an interior detail and that was it, and you kind of rinsed off the outside, maybe not full detail, but then they're just like, damn, I didn't know you were going to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, just make them feel really good.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yeah, always try and go above and beyond, whether it's, you know, something little, which usually that's all it is, just do something little, because to you, it's like, oh, this is going to take another 5-10 minutes, but, you know, to them, it's like, oh, wow, like, he actually cares, right?
Yeah.
He could tell that I was on a budget, but he went ahead and did a little bit extra, so I'm going to go tell my friend.
Yeah.
And then your name just starts going on.
So one of the things you said in there that I think is super important, you know, it's great when having these conversations, just things that get pulled out. So you said that you can start reading people's body language and kind of start to, you know what lane to go into. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's a skill of you being self-aware and being able to read someone's body language and kind of what they're communicating with that body language. Not everybody can do that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people can't. I mean, I pride myself on, if I was to say, you know, some of the top 3 skills that I have that I don't know where they come from. I didn't read books and develop them. I just feel like, you know, God gives you gifts, everybody different gifts, and being very self-aware and reading that body language and those things, like the reading people and the people skills, is one of my gifts. And so did you develop that on your own, or is it just something that has come natural to you over time to learn?
No, it's something that's just come natural. I didn't read any books that taught me how to do that. Mm-hmm. It was just something that, you know, at the time, you know, high school kid going into college, needed money. And, you know, I was getting to a point to where I wasn't making that much money. And so it's just like, you got to start reading. Like, Frank, you have to figure something else out here. Yeah. And so that's kind of what drove me to, you know, really start paying more attention to the customer. And once I started doing that, I started, you know, to see I was getting more clients. Because, again, I was just trying to sell them, like, the most expensive detail. Yeah. Full detail. And in reality, not everyone wants that.
Yeah, you need to think about what their needs are.
Exactly.
You know, tell them what you have to offer, but think about what their needs really are.
Yes, sir.
And so, how do you think? I find this interesting because you're so young, and I feel like, you know, and I'm 40 now, and I don't like that. I wish I wasn't 40, but I am, and But I remember at 22 years old, just like you are, I could have a conversation with any person, adult, successful, whatever successful looks like, educated, not educated, country bumpkin, black, white, didn't matter. I could connect with and was very self-aware of conversation and professional in the way I carry myself. And just, I don't know a lot of people who do that. I mean, do you think about that? Do you know that about yourself, or is it something that you're still figuring out? I mean, obviously you're in that stage, but it's almost like something that I knew that I kind of told myself and wondered, but why am I able to do this and others aren't? And then over the last 20 years, it's become very obvious to me, very clear, and it's just I just don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever think about that?
I do, because I can kind of communicate with just like the people you were saying. You just have to know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it.
Know your audience.
Know your audience.
Be self-aware.
Exactly. Being self-aware. You know.
Do you kind of chameleon, like if you're talking to someone like straight from the country, you get a little more country, someone straight from the hood, you're a little bit more gangster?
Exactly.
Yeah, I do that too, and it's not because I'm like not trying to be me. I just am.
It's just how you are.
Yeah, it just makes it more comfortable.
Community.
Adapt. You're adapting to where you're at. It's not that I'm changing. Like, I want to be me. I'm always me. I say that. There was a lot of times where I'm insecure, and I probably was not being completely authentic. Not in a negative way, but just, I'm trying to learn to be that more confidence where whatever. Like, I would love to show up into a room of, my buddies who are cowboys, but I'm not, and just say this is who I am. Instead, I kind of like have like one cowboy shirt and boots so I can show up to that.
Right.
I'm still working on that, actually. It's funny, but I just think it's interesting that what that mindset is, and what, beyond the discipline, beyond the drive, beyond the hustle, beyond the passion, beyond all those great things, that self-awareness and those people skills is probably one of the most important things that a person can develop if they don't have that. You know what I mean? So I think that has probably played a big role in your success up to this point. So now, we kind of got to the point of where you're at. You started doing these things, and you're in Mineral Wells. So where does it go from there?
Yeah, from there, I actually was accepted to Oklahoma Panhandle State University. I went there for a semester, and I immediately left. So there was about a semester I didn't detail. I was just a college student, but I had to leave there just because it was a town of nothing. They didn't even have a McDonald's there.
No McDonald's?
No McDonald's.
Dude, I drove to Austin yesterday. I had a meeting not a meeting, but I had to go testify at the Capitol on a bill that's trying to get passed in our industry. And I don't like McDonald's, but I'll eat it if I have to. Yeah. And when you're driving late at night and you're bored, and I saw a sign for McDonald's and I missed it, and I was like, damn it, I need to, I'll just find another place. And so I looked up on my Waze app, like where I was at, and the only thing on the Waze app besides the highway and the directions was like 18 McDonald's. Between Georgetown and Austin. I'm like, dude. Yeah, so if you didn't have a McDonald's, you should have left.
Exactly.
That's like the car hop deal. Dude car hops in a town without a McDonald's. I'm out. You gotta go.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
No, but from there, we came back to Arlington. That's when I started going to Arlington Baptist. And I tried to do the detailing thing. It honestly wasn't working. Bigger town. I was really busy with school, really busy with baseball, and just really couldn't. I couldn't do it at that time. And so at that point, I found New Image Auto Detailing.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, he's out of Fort Worth. And then from there, I talked to him a little bit, and I started working for him. We worked for about a year and a half, almost 2 years together.
Okay.
But that was a really big stepping point in my career because like we talked about, that self-awareness, developing those people skills. I was able to do that by myself, but there's a certain part of this industry that you can't learn by yourself. Learning these ceramic coatings, learning how to properly polish paint. What methods to use. Doing paint protection film. There's so many more things than just being able to provide a good customer service. And he was really able to develop my skills to a further level. throughout those 2 years, it's when I was really I was really introduced into, like those higher end cars, how to deal with them,
how to price and
exactly
stuff.
How to really become confident in my pricing, how to become confident in, if I'm talking to you about your McLaren, I'm not like, oh, well, we're going to make it shiny.
Let's make it work.
Yeah, we're not going to do that, right? He really taught me how to be professional with the pricing because, when I'm going to talk to a mom, about getting her minivan done, again, it's about knowing your audience and how to talk to different people. I'm going to talk to her differently than, the guy who has the McLaren. Not because they're different, but because
different expectations, results. Yeah,
exactly. So, he taught me a lot of that. He also taught me a lot, how to build relationships with these people. So, you don't just, get them once and then never again.
Yeah.
He really developed my skills with that, but, we kind of just split our ways.
So, I want to talk about that because that's super important. So, you're absolutely right. Like in certain industries, like if you're in sales, and you've never done it, and maybe you're learning that skill, you can burn 20 leads or 100 leads, and that sucks. No one's going to be excited about it, and you learn and develop over time of how to really work with someone and overcome objections and all that stuff. Read their body language, but a skill like detailing, professional detailing, which is what you do. That's different because you don't have like a car panel in a garage that you're like practicing polishing and stuff and clear coating, right? Like you have to have someone really teach you, like, to learn that process. And you're probably going to make some mistakes along the way at the expense of someone else's car, but hopefully not, right? I mean, that's true, right?
No,
like
it's happened.
Yeah, of course it's happened. It's like, but it's like learning to wrap vehicles. Like I would imagine, if I was just decided to get into that business tomorrow, I would really need to have learned from someone. Like you want to go learn that skill. It's not something that, it's not easy just to like, you're not going to watch a video. You can watch a video so many times, but you have to go do the application, and having someone teach you and coach you and you kind of like master that, like really focus and master where you're at that time and learn that skill was really an important part of your journey.
Yes, sir.
So what I want to know now, which I've talked about this on another podcast, and I think about it a lot in our business, is at what point were you like super grateful, it sounds like, for the opportunity to have learned all these skills working with the guys at New Image? And the way you talk about it, you talk about it as like, he really helped, develop a lot of new things for you.
Yes, sir, he did.
And so at what point did you, in your mind, start going, I want to do my own thing? Did y'all have a falling out, or was it more about, man, I know enough now that I have the confidence to go do my own thing?
It kind of goes back to the Sonic thing.
Yeah.
I remember, I kind of got stuck. I feel like I got stuck in sort of like the like 8 to 5 job routine.
Okay.
And I remember, going back to Sonic, I kept thinking about it a lot.
You were going for the half-price milkshake after working at New Image?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you were like, you became one of those people like, oh, I'm coming for my half-price milkshake and I ain't tipping shit. And then as you're drinking your milkshake, you're thinking about Sonic and you don't want to work there, and then now you're starting to think the same thing where you're at.
It was the fact that, I just didn't want to work for someone. Again, it's not an ego thing.
Yeah.
Right. Wanting to, own the company and have ownership and be that leader. But, I wanted to, now that he taught me these skills, he taught me very valuable lessons. I thought it was my time to, be the owner. Not because, I didn't want to leave him.
Yeah.
Because he was a great guy. But I wanted to, I wanted to have someone under me. I wanted employees. I wanted to change. It was more or less, I wanted to change someone's life, right? Because, with me, I developed the mindset of, being the entrepreneur, learning what entrepreneurship means. And I thought it was my time to, gain employees and really be able to share that knowledge with them, so that way, they can have that mindset. Because, I believe that the entrepreneurship mindset, it doesn't necessarily mean owning a business. It doesn't mean, being the CEO.
Yeah.
Right. What it means to me, it's like, you have to take that mindset. You have to take that mindset of, I want to be the leader, or, I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to make these sacrifices. I'm going to have that vision for the company. It's a lot of things, and that's what I want to teach to my employees. So that way, hopefully one day they're like, hey, Frank, I got to go because I'm going to go on to bigger things. I want to start my own company, hopefully not detailing, but, really help develop what they want to do in their career. And, I'm super passionate about that. I love seeing people develop, from what they came as and, what they are now or what they want to be, really start chasing those dreams. And, that's my main goal for my employees. But
yeah, no, I think that's super powerful. So when you say all that, like I said, we've had some podcasts around this already on different episodes, around this ownership mentality is, the way I think about it, the entrepreneur mentality or ownership mentality.
mm-hmm.
And I worked for 3 different people in my career in power sports. I worked for 3 different owners over more than 10-year period. And when the first guy I worked for the first year was just for fun. I was just having fun, didn't know it was really going to be my career. The second person I worked for, I could start to see that, okay, this is a career for me. But that my ownership mentality was there. Like that is what, some of these other things, the discipline and the hard work and the self-awareness and people reading skills, that all contributed. But like I took so much pride in, the way the bathrooms, looked and were they clean. I took pride in the way that the team delivered results to the customer and the experience. And I mean, every square inch of the building, every minute of the process that the doors were open. I mean, I remember when someone was breaking in over and over. This wasn't even my business. And, I told the guy, I'm like, dude, I'm going to bring my dogs up here. I got a Rottweiler and a Doberman. We're going to catch these guys. And he's like, nah, we don't want anybody to get hurt. Don't worry about that. I'm like, oh, no. This is like, I'm like offended. These guys are stealing from us, man. This is our business. And it wasn't my business. And I think that when you talk about that's an important part of what makes people great. And like you said, you don't have to be the CEO. You don't have to be the owner to do great things. You can work for someone else. You can be not the CEO. All these terms that's become kind of cliche over the last several years and, with social media and all that stuff. Nothing wrong with wanting to go do those things, to be any one of those, to be the entrepreneur. But having an ownership mindset, taking pride in all those things you do, that it says something about your character. And that is going to be one of the most important things to help you continue to grow in your journey to achieve the things you want to achieve. Not everybody has to be the owner. Not everybody wants that responsibility, that liability. But what makes people great and a company great and leaders great is developing people who have that. I don't know how you develop that personally, and I do. But do you think that you can develop an ownership mentality, or do you think people have it?
I think it's all with habits. It starts with habits and being able to develop it. You teach them how much the little things matter. Going back to when I was talking about the interior details, right? You have to understand that the little things are what make the bigger picture. And so really, getting them to understand that, you can start to develop that mindset of the ownership mentality. Giving them jobs to do. It's not just detailing a car. It's, cleaning the bathroom, right? Taking the trash out, folding the towels, washing the towels, doing things like that. And just developing those habits with them. But it's something that you can develop, I believe.
So I agree. I really do. I think that someone has to have like something, like a little seed in them, though, of like they care enough. I don't know. I see some people and meet some people that are like, I'm just blown away at how little they care about their own life and then about someone else's, and I'm like. And I've had to come to the reality that we're just going to employ and we're going to have people like that. They just want to come do what they do. But an ownership mentality where you take so much pride in everything you do, I don't know if there is some sort of seed that's planted in a person from, very young, or it's a trait or part of who, just how their DNA. and then you can develop on that more and more and more. So I don't know. I really don't know. I know that there's been people that I've tried to coach over the years to pull that out of them, and no way. Like they just don't get it at all.
And part of having that ownership mentality is realizing that like you are right. There are some people who I believe they don't
get it.
They don't get it. But I learned this from Andy Frisella. He's talking about how great his company is, and like within the company now his guys want to come to work, right? He makes it to where his guys want to come to work every day. And one of the things he says he does is he gives everybody the same opportunity. He gives everybody as many resources as they can and as he can give them. And what he learns from that is who's got it and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Because the guy who goes out and strives to be more, who goes above and beyond every day, and is the guy, that he can say like, oh yeah, this is the guy we're moving up, right? This is the guy that's invested in the company.
Yeah, people kind of self-eliminate, right? Like, and that is a great point you bring up. I mean, Andy's absolutely right, where it's like, you have to give everybody an opportunity, because you can't take a DNA test or like a quiz, a pop quiz, or in an interview and really see that. You have to give them an opportunity to see who has it and who doesn't.
Exactly.
And I guess there is a role for some people who they don't have it. Somewhere, maybe in the company, maybe there's a role of someone who just wants to show up and do their job, as long as they can do it well with a good attitude. But really, I'm looking for the people who are like, man, I want them to be satisfied in their journey, but like unsatisfied with they want more, and they're growing and pushing. Okay, so we get to this point. We kind of went off track there. So let's pick back up on where we were at, and kind of continuing to build Frank's detailing. You learn this skill set. You're at New Image, and then you're thinking you're at Sonic, going, man, I just need to go do my own thing.
Yes, sir.
And then so you go for it.
Just went for it. Just looked over the edge of the cliff and jumped off, man.
Yeah.
I had a FJ Cruiser, and I was like, hey mom, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the back seats. I'm gonna put a water tank in here, put a pressure washer in, and this is gonna be my detailing rig until I can afford a van. I didn't have a shop, and to do some of the things that we do, you need a shop.
Yeah.
And I know you saw it, because when you brought the McLaren in, I knew a lady. She did interior designing and house staging, and she had a little section, barely big enough to fit a truck in. And I was like, hey, if I detail your car, twice a month, can I, use this space for a while? And she said yes. So, just again, jumping off the cliff and figuring it out on the way down, so we did that up until I believe December. We would just do the FJ, go out, attack people, not attack people.
Yeah.
But, like, hey,
we've got this service.
Yes,
you need it.
Exactly. We started getting clients, every job, we did our best to do perfect and go above and beyond, so people talked about us, and, we started building a little bit of a reputation. And in that shop, whenever people would come, I was asked once or twice, like, hey, do you guys do auto detailing? Because we really didn't have that much. But, of course, we did, and, we did the best job that we could, and, people started realizing, like, all right, well, he's got a little shop, but it's just because, like, he's building. It's not where he's going to be, and after that, we moved. It was in January. We moved to a bigger shop. We have 1,000 square feet now. It's our home.
Yeah.
And
does it feel like home? Do you care about it like it's your home?
It does feel like home. Yeah, I love walking in there. Just walking in there, seeing our logo. It reminds me every day of where we're going.
That's so awesome, dude. I wish through a podcast, a book, whatever, that I could explain or that feeling to someone listening right now and whatever they're looking for. Because I totally get it, dude. I mean, I totally get it. Like, that sense of pride, like that's your home. Like, just I'm looking at you, so the audience isn't looking at you like I'm looking at you, but I could see that when you say it, it's like emotional, right? It's like, man, this is my home, 1,000 square foot warehouse in Arlington.
It is.
To most people, to a lot of people, it would just be like, yeah, that's cool. People pull up to your place and it's like, yeah, whatever. But when you leave and the lights go out, that was home.
Exactly.
Long ass day and you're turning the lights out, that's home. I love that, dude. I don't know how to get people to understand that and feel that, but if you're out looking for whatever it is your dream, and if you are truly meant to do what you're doing and you're truly passionate and care, you will know what that feeling is. Like, I used to do that when I started my landscaping business. My dad, dude, I would load everything up in the back of this little S10 pickup truck, like it was crammed, and I had these ramps to unload and load. And my dad, I was looking for a trailer, dude, and I couldn't afford one. And my dad said, "Hey, I got a buddy who's got this trailer, and it's perfect. It's like this size and this and that." I was like, "Done deal." And dude, I went and picked this thing up. It was horrific. It was hideous. It was homemade, and it had like these half walls, and it was just all beat up. But it was perfect for what I needed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I bought it, I went back to my parents' house and started cleaning it up, spray paint some stuff, zip tying some stuff together, getting new lights on it, got like a little logo on the side. And every night, like literally after mowing yards for like 12 or 15 hours in the Texas heat, just like you're beat. But it's like I would back that thing in and I would like unhook it. And then when I would walk away, I'd be like, yeah, that's my trailer. That was home. That trailer was my home, man. Like I was so proud of that. And then as you go through your journey, what's important, I think what's most important is that you never forget that. So when you're in a 10,000 square foot space and you got detailers all over and just like you're just, blowing, booming, to not forget about that was your home, man. Like, right?
It is. And Brian's my main guy. He's my right-hand man.
Yeah.
And I remind him of that a lot because he's been with me since the beginning, when we'd only have work a couple of days of the week,
Yeah.
barely making anything. I'd always tell him like, "Hey man, just chill out. This is where we're going."
Yeah.
Right. He saw the progress from the FJ to the van, from the, the little shop to the bigger shop. And I always try to remind him of that. I'm like, man, like this is ours. Like this is ours. And this is where we're going with the company. And like, dude, you're my right-hand man. Like you're going to be with me throughout everything. Like I want you to be with me, throughout it. And, I even see it in him, it's like whenever we get done, with a long day, we kick back and, drink our little, Dos Equis, after a long day. And I'm just like, man, like we killed this week. And he's like, "Oh yeah, man. Yeah, we did." And it's just, I think a big part of it is also having someone there.
To share that journey.
To not only share it, but, kind of kick you in the butt.
Because
some days, you're not going to be as motivated. You're not going to want to get out of bed. You're not going to want to do things.
Yeah.
But it's always important to have that other 50%. Be like, "Hey, come on, bro. Like, let's go. We got to get this done." Some days it's him doing it to me. Some days it's me doing it to him. But
so what do you ever worry about him being, Frank a couple of years ago where you've taught him all these things and he goes and does his own thing? Are you working to the point where you're like, "Man, how do I make this good enough for the both of us and him be with me?"
Yeah. So, a lot of it is, one of my things in life is, focusing on the controllables and the uncontrollables, right?
Yep.
I can't control what I can't control what Brian does with his life. I can't. But what I can control is providing him enough value and, when we're big enough, providing him that raise, providing him a bigger stake in the company.
Yeah.
I can control that. And I believe that if I can give him enough value to where, he comes to work and it's like, "Man, I learned this, I learned that,
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I'm just detailing cars. Like, I'm becoming a better man.
Yeah.
If I can get him, to start feeling that, then I feel like I shouldn't have to worry about if he leaves me or not. Because if he leaves me, like, all right, like, that sucks. Like, it's not fun.
You figure it out.
Exactly. But, on the other hand, it's like, he left me, but this is what I taught him. He's leaving here with more than what he came with.
Yeah.
And, I feel like as, someone who has employees, that's, one of the biggest things that you can ask for, because, like you are the one that's teaching them. You're the one giving them these things.
Yeah.
And to see them succeed.
It feels good.
It does feel good. It hurts a little bit because they left, but it feels good.
It feels good. Dude, I like this controllable and uncontrollable. You just have so many natural things, which is why I wanted you on the podcast. You're 22 and, when I was 22, I'd like to think, I was working hard, but I was aware of certain things, but you're just so mature in your thought process. And, I want to talk about the things that you think or believe that you're even sacrificing. It feels like I get a sense that you're sacrificing a lot just to be really focused on your business. But like that controllable and uncontrollable, I had a conversation with someone yesterday. They said, how do you how are you comfortable? Like, do you have to be in your business every single minute of every day at every store and this and that because, people are stealing from you or whatever? Like, how do you do all that? And I said, dude, I can only worry about things I'm in control of. I can put processes and controls in place to help me, but I'm not going to live in fear of if someone wants to steal from me. That's on them. I'm not going to live in fear of bad weather. I'm not going to live in fear of if someone leaves tomorrow. I don't want those things to happen. And like you said, I want to provide the best opportunity for them not to happen to me, but I'm not going to live in fear of those. What I'm going to focus on is the things I am in control of. Just like you said. I mean, that I'm like, that's what lets me sleep at night. I know guys who own one dealership, and maybe they operate, even better and tighter than me. Like, no one's going to steal from them because they're there all day watching everything like a hawk, but they have no ability to scale.
Exactly.
They have no ability to scale. And for me, I'm like, I got 14 stores. If I have 100 stores and someone steals a spark plug from me or they want to steal a pair of goggles, nothing I can do about that. I mean, I believe in people, and I believe in hiring the right people. And if you provide them the right environment and a sense of culture, if they know that you care, they're less likely to take from you anyway. Outside people, if they want to break in, it's out of my control. Only thing I can do is focus on the things that are in my control. So I don't know. It's just great advice. That's something that if you want to be an entrepreneur and you're listening to this, you're listening to Frank, I want you to hang on to certain details. I want you to hang on to certain things that he's saying that are incredibly powerful, because being focused on the things that are controllable and uncontrollable in your life, that is something. I think that's like a winning recipe for everything. For your family, your kids, your neighbor, and the things that are out of your control that you really don't like, find a way to put them in your control.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If I don't like my asshole neighbor, well, I'm going to fix it one way or the other. I'll get him out of the neighborhood or I'll move.
Exactly.
It'll become in my control. Like, being more in control is nice. So you've got your right-hand guy. You guys are like, you have this vision. You have your home. Do you have a vision of what Frank's Detailing looks like? Do you kind of daydream about what that looks like?
I do.
So tell me what that looks like.
It's a big warehouse with, a lot of lifts. And I'll just, doing what we do now, just at a bigger scale. I want to have our shop, right? I want to expand that side, but I also want to go in more of, getting the dealerships, getting the service trucks, getting things like that, having different divisions of Frank's Detailing, because, something that I've learned from the dealership, it's a lot different doing dealership cars than doing, a normal client's cars, right? Because the dealership wants it done like this and in this amount of time. So
is that more like more of a bargain wash? Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it done, get it quick, make it look good. Yeah.
And that's a lot different than our, typical mobile side. So, but what I've learned from it is, man, that's stable. Like, you have that job. Yeah. So it's like if I can create a division of the company that just strictly does, dealerships and service groups, things like that. That's one thing I really want for the company, as well as, the mobile side, that attacks the everyday clients.
Yeah.
And then, have the shop grow, to where people, someone says, oh, hey, I just got a new Porsche, I want to do paint protection film on it and ceramic coating.
Yeah.
Where do I go? They say Frank's Detailing.
Yeah. That's not even a question. It's a brand.
Exactly. Creating a brand, not a company.
Are you working on that, creating a brand? It's like something you think about, but that's the next step for you, dude.
It is.
I mean, you got to create a brand, like, to where people think about it, like, that's just going to be key for you. But you got to keep doing what you're doing. You have to earn the right to have a brand.
Exactly.
I mean, you build the reputation. A brand, like, in today's world, you can help propel or speed up the branding because of social media and just the way internet works. But to be real, so that people are like, yeah, there's no question, like, I trust this, you have to do all the right things. Like, the brand is built naturally.
Yes, sir.
So you're working on building this brand. You have this vision of where things go. And I need to get you with my business partner. He has a brand new Porsche 911 Turbo that's like the sickest thing ever. I need to get you. It's beautiful. I need to get you with him so you can do all those things you just talked about. He wants them already. So you have this vision, and does your mind wander outside of Frank's detailing right now, or are you completely focused on building this business?
I'm completely focused. I do
Oh,
have
you
times.
hesitated.
I know I did.
Don't bullshit me.
I do have times where I wander out.
What are the other things?
And to be honest, I want to. I'm really into like efficiency
Mm-hmm.
and learning complex systems and simplifying them.
Okay.
So I have this urge to go to be an engineer, industrial engineer.
Okay.
So I've had an urge to actually go back to school.
Oh my
I
God.
I know.
This
but
podcast just got flipped upside down.
I know and I talk about, not wanting to go to school, and that's just where I'm conflicted, because it's like I have this urge to, want to do that, and I love, like, that's what I love to do, is just simplify things like that. That's why I love detailing, because I can simplify. You have to do so many things to get the car done, but how can we do it the fastest?
Mm-hmm.
How can we do it the best? Right.
Man, my mind's blown right now because I mean I think it's great. I do. I think it's great. Like I'm excited that you're saying this because my mind is now going like, do you want to go into engineering? Do you want to go into consulting? And you have to have a lot of education and experience to do that, or do you want to build the most massive detailing company in Dallas Fort Worth and expand it and build that brand? Like, and you're so young
I know.
that you can do that. You can figure out what you want to do, but I mean, dude, where's your heart and passion? Like, where's your heart? Where's that struggle right now with you? Like, how often do you think, like, man, I'm going back to school and I'm going to be an engineer?
I think about it weekly.
You do?
I do. But right now, in this moment, Frank's detailing is everything.
Yeah.
And I've come to understand that, because I've set out. It's just like finishing what you start. I've set out for this, and this is what I want. Like, I love the business side of it. I love doing all that. I love the detailing.
Yeah.
But right now it's focusing on growing Frank's detailing. And then, don't tell Brian this, but
Yeah.
one day Brian will be the head honcho.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to go with the company.
Well, so that's what I was thinking. Just in my mind, immediately goes to how do you make it enticing enough for him and help him build this company where he's running it and doing a lot of things and executing, and he has a stake in it to where it matters. The money matters, and you can kind of do the other things that you want. Is that like a plan? Maybe
that is the plan. Right now, I plan on going back to school when I'm around that 29, 30-year-old age. And really focusing on locking down this business. Really focusing on teaching Brian everything that I know. My failures, my successes, everything that it's going to take for him to run this company.
Yeah.
And showing him and growing it with him, so he sees where we started from where we go, and of course making it desirable enough for him to want to actually run the company.
Yeah.
So right now, it's going to be Frank's detailing for a long time, but up until I can get this to where Brian can run it and he knows where to go with it.
So here's something interesting that I want you to listen to right now. If you're listening to this podcast, I want you to understand this right now, which is this is why I'm having different people in different parts of their journey. Because if Frank was 30 and had 50 detailing trucks out there, he would be less likely thinking about going back to school at 29. Probably thinking about a family, maybe thinking about different things, and that may happen. The reason I point this out is the journey, man, it changes. And when you're in the early part of the journey, like you are, you can change, you can pivot, okay? Like I started my first landscaping business and grew it to a great business, and then I pivoted. I didn't even give it up. I sold it. I sold it to a guy, a buddy of mine, who wanted to get started, and he said, man, I need the equipment. I need some accounts. I said, man, why don't you buy mine? And it wasn't like a big sell, but dude, I mean, it was real money. Guy paid me for something that I built versus just walking away from it. And then I pivoted and went to the power sports industry, started working in the dealership, and all of this was just kind of just going, and then one of my other really good friends who had a landscaping business similar, almost the exact same timing, he stayed focused on that business for the next 10 years, heads down, built one of the best landscaping businesses in Dallas-Fort Worth called Duval Landscaping. He sold it for very high six-figure incomes before he was 30 years old. He put gave a lot of money to his church, and he lives a very wonderful, simple life. He's just not overdone, and he's just living life completely on his terms. And there's days I look back at him and go, man, dude, like he did it right. Like he killed it. But then I went my own direction, and I believe that this is exactly the journey and the path that I'm supposed to be on. So the reason I point all this out is when you're young as Frank is, 22 years old. Are you 22 or 23 now?
22.
22 years old. Yeah, 22. Just turned 22, okay? He still has a lot of time to try to figure this out, and I think that's an interesting part of the conversation. And talking to someone who may be 30 years old and already in the middle of their, really far into their journey, it becomes harder to pivot or to just kind of change. And I also want to point out that it's natural to build some success and to do things and think that you're in the, like where you wanted to be, a couple years, prior, you're thinking, I want to get here. And then when you're here, you're thinking, man, this isn't the destination. This isn't the end all be all. Like there's more to me that I want to figure out. And like for me personally, my goal in life was to own one dealership. And then when I reached one dealership, it was like I hung the moon. And then I got to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and it was like, bow, grand slam out of the park. Like, my gosh, what's going on? And then a couple years later, I'm thinking, I want to go to TCU's MBA school. I got accepted. They came to me to be in their MBA program. And I'm thinking, dude, I want to do that. I started thinking, man, maybe I want to be the CEO of a public company. Because I kept getting exposed to new things that made me think about things differently. And, but I had to do a lot of reflecting and a lot of self-thought to try to determine what's right for me, like where am I at? And I've always come back to, for me right now, different than you at 22, I've always come back to the last 3 or 4 years, no, I'm exactly where I was meant to be in my life and my journey. I don't know what the next 20 years will look like, but right this moment, I'm completely focused on where I'm at and trying not to overthink too many things about where I want to go, or what I want to do. So I just think that's really cool that you're saying that, because if you're listening to this again, what I'm talking about is if you're 20 or 25 or 30 or 35 and 40 and 45, it's never too late to do something. It's never too soon to get started. All those things that people say, which is all true. But the story is different for people in different cycles, wherever they're at in their journey. And for you at 22, man, you can be thinking about this. You can shut down Frank's Detailing tomorrow, and it'd be painful. It'd be, at your home, and you're excited about it, but you're young. You can pivot and go. You can go find whatever your dream is. Something is going to pull you or push you or talk to you. Your own internal gut will kind of navigate you on where you should go. But that is a scary part of life.
It is.
Like waking up, in a few years and re-signed up for engineering program and shut down Frank's Detailing or sold it to your buddy, and you're like, damn, what did I do? Or waking up at 30 and you've gone to engineering school and Frank's Detailing's done, and you're starting to be an engineer and you're figuring out problems, and then all of a sudden you drive by and see like 50 trucks on the road that says, Frankie's, detailing. You're like, Frankie's killing it right now. It's just interesting to me, like, because you don't know. It's like you can't worry about missed opportunities. It's like the one that got away in high school, the girl or the guy. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if it matters. I mean, it doesn't matter, but it's natural to think about all those things. So think about where you're at in your life. Think about where you're at in your journey, and let that help decide, man. Like, don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to change course if that's what's right for you. But think it thoroughly. Think if you're going to be people who are changing directions all the time, I think is detrimental to your success. To like, oh, I'm going to school, I'm not going to school. I'm going to school, I'm not going to school. I'm going to do this detail. No, I think I'm going to do something else. Be more thoughtful. Try some things, think through some things. I mean, I love the way you're saying, like, till I'm 29, and then I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to build this business. I mean, that just, again, goes back to your level of discipline and focus and stuff on this great business. So, anyway, kind of rambled there, but I think it's cool. I mean, it's just an interesting part of where you're at.
Yes, sir.
So,
my bad. Didn't mean to say sir.
No, it's okay. I mean, you can say it. It's hard for me too. I had this lady from Wells Fargo. I have meetings with her all the time, and I say yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, and then she said, "Kevin, stop saying yes, ma'am," and I was like, "Yes, ma'am." I can't. I was raised right, I'm respectful. It's part of who I am. Okay, so just real quick, we've been going an hour, 10 minutes, goes by fast, and it's great because that means that we got a good flow. But people only want to listen for so long. So I'm real curious what are the things that you think you've sacrificed? What are you sacrificing right now at 22 different than maybe your friends or other people, or what perception we have of people that's allowing you to be, so focused and learning, and like, what are those things you think?
A lot of it's, having a social life.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things. I have, some people you'll see they have a bunch of friends. They can go out on the weekends, or after a long day of work, they can go out, and eat with a bunch of friends. And that's one thing that I feel like I'm sacrificing. I have a couple friends that are around my age, and they have the same mindset as me.
Yeah.
We communicate, but a lot of it, it's whenever we communicate, it's always about business. It is always about like how are we going to grow with each other. But a lot of it's sacrificing that, going out on the weekends. You don't need to go out on the weekends.
Yeah.
That's money you could be saving towards your company.
Are you reinvesting? Like, are you able to save, and are you constantly reinvesting in your business and not going out? Like, you feel good about where your money's going, right?
I do. Not maybe Whataburger. Whataburger's my weakness. But
dude, you got to eat, and if you're gonna eat, it might as well be Whataburger.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but that's probably my biggest expense as far as that goes.
Do you have the Whataburger app?
I do.
Yeah,
the rewards, right?
Yeah, I got it too, man. I'm like, dude, I better get this Whataburger app because
I know.
And I'm trying to stay in shape, but man, there's something about Whataburger that draws you to it.
That Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich, they got something in there.
Yeah, see, I'm like a 1-layer onion.
Uh-huh.
I get the number one every time.
Oh.
Nothing on it, basically. I'm just boring, but it's so good. So you're sacrificing, and at 22, that's really is what you're sacrificing mostly, is your social life and other stuff. And the one thing I say is, dude, I'm 10 years behind. I feel 10 years behind or longer or further. And I wish that at 22 I had the level of focus and discipline. So I'm not going to say, dude, you're young and you should go out and do these things, go experience life. Absolutely not, in my opinion. I think exactly what you're doing, which is like staying super focused on what it is. And, you're going to have time. You will make up that time in a better way in the future. And so I just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. And those who are listening, man, if you're 22 and you're out running around, you got credit card debt, you're not, you don't have to own your own business. You should just be working. Like, you should be spending at 20 and 22 and 23 and 24 and 25 and 26. You should be learning and growing and working your ass off, or going to school and working your ass off. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say don't have a social life in any way. You should have a friend. You should go out and see a movie. But I believe that the more you can ruthlessly focus in that part of your life and build in the habits that you talked about earlier, build in the disciplines, and really start to master certain things. Like, how do I master where I'm at? Like, if you work at the movie theater, there's a way to master that. If you're 22 years old, there's a way to master that. There's a way to make whatever manager that's managing that theater, that they now rely on you. You're the 22-year-old, individual that knows everything going on, how to keep everything moving. And because you take so much pride and staying late and getting there early and making things happen, even for minimum wage, I think that's the right thing to do. Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I was listening to your podcast, the one that you were on, and it was talking about, how whenever, the different store owners would come, right, people weren't looking for that company. They were looking for Kevin Lackey.
Yeah.
Whenever they'd walk in, they looked for Kevin Lackey. And like you said, you weren't the owner.
Yeah.
But you were such a big impact in that company that whenever people came in, they were like, where's Kevin Lackey?
I totally believe that all of my success is because of those things and habits. Mm-hmm. And, I want to encourage people out there listening. That's what this podcast is for. This podcast is not for people who are 25 and still think they're in college and can't wait to go buy 19 cases of beer and go on spring break with their buddies. That's not what this podcast is for.
No, it's not.
Other than unless you're listening to this and you're trying to get your life on track. It's like you need some Jesus in your life. You need some RFN podcast in your life, because you need someone to tell you that hanging out, trying to be cool, buying shit to keep up with the Joneses and stuff, it just matters zero.
It's all ego.
It's all ego, and it's
ego.
insecurities.
It is.
It's insecurities, and they call it, I don't know, someone made this term, and it's so stupid to me. They said they have FMO, or fear of whatever it is, fear of missing out. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, right. It's like someone said people have a fear of missing out. So young people like, damn, I don't want to miss out on the trip. I don't want to miss out on dinner tonight at the cool spot. I don't want to miss out on this and that. It's like, dude, miss out.
You'll get over it.
Get over it, dude. You'll get over it, and you'll be better for it. Like, I'm learning in my life, like right now, one of the things I'm trying to learn to do is say no more, because I get opportunities to go do stuff that seem cool a lot. And because I don't like a lot of stuff, like it's easy for me to say no to free golf, or easy to say no to this and that. But there's some things, sometimes it's like cool that I'm like, damn, I want to go do that. But this time, my whole purpose in this podcast is to try to just give you information and ideas and thoughts. And at 40 years old, okay, you want to know the truth, Frank?
Oh.
I'm 41.
Oh, man.
I'm scared to even say 41. I keep lying and saying I'm 40. I'm 41.
Dang.
I know, it's terrible.
Kevin Lackey lied.
I lied. I just said in my 40s, but I'm 41 years old, and the thing that I keep hearing more and more that's a straight up fact is you can never go back and get time.
Yep.
Someone with $100 million in the bank that's 85 would give every penny to go back and be 22-year-old Frank. You can't go back and get time. And how do you maximize your time? How do you be so productive in the time that you have? And not just always being productive. When do you need to rest? Because how do you balance these things? But when I say, this time and how important it is, it's like, how do you not waste time? And trying to keep up with the Joneses, or, partying and all this other stuff, it's okay every once in a while to go do things and this and that, but people should be really evaluating what are they getting done in the time that they have allowed. The one thing on earth that we all have that's equal, rich, poor, black, white, man, woman, you can be from Taiwan or from the United States or wherever, Europe, the one thing that we all have that's identical, do you know what it is?
24 hours in a day.
24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's the only thing. Yes, I was watching Joyce Myers. She's like this lady preacher, and she just gets it on. She looks like the Joker a little bit, which is weird. But she's talking about that, and I'm like, damn, man. And I've wasted a lot of time in my life. I get it on. I know that I'm a get it on dude. But if you're listening to this, man, just be thinking about what Frank's talking about, the sacrifices that he's making, the thoughts that he's making, and whatever else. That is something that should be critical to you if you're listening to this. And if you're 35 and you're wasting a bunch of time still trying to hang out and be cool, it's just as important.
It is.
All right, Frank, leave us with one. So I want you to give me, let's see here. I want you to tell me what is the best advice? What is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever gotten?
The best piece of advice. Oh man, don't be the cheap guy.
Don't be the cheap guy.
Don't be the cheap guy. There was a guy whenever I first started detailing. His name is Mike. He's down in San Antonio, owns Thumper's Detailing. I was trying to buy this polisher from him.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money.
Yep.
But I had to do it because it was the coolest thing. But no, he told me because I was trying to bargain with him. And then I got that low price, and I was like, all right, well, can you throw a couple polishing pads in here? Because they're new.
He knew his value. He said no.
Yeah, he said no, and I just kept asking him. He finally did, but he looked at me. He said, Frank, don't be the cheap guy.
Yeah.
He was pretty mad, but he's
that ruins relationship. When you push too hard,
it does, and that's what it taught me. Don't push too hard. Dude. You have to yes, you can bargain a little bit, but you have to know your worth. You have to know your value, and don't be that guy who's always trying to get everything cheap. And I love that guy.
Dude, if you're listening to this right now, a 22-year-old, I didn't know what you were going to say. And I'm just telling you, dude, that was, if you are listening, write that shit down. It's right. It's true. And I'm a negotiator, right? I believe in negotiator. I'm like, I want a deal. But, dude, don't be the cheap guy and negotiate something that's fair for everybody. Mm-hmm. I've learned that when I get pushed too hard, it puts me off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a lady call me recently. She wanted us to donate for a charity that we were happy to donate. And we said, yeah, we can do this. And, I mean, it was like, this is us giving thousands and thousands of dollars. And then she kept pushing and pushing over 2 weeks. And this is like a charity for cause for kids and this and that, like that I'm like want to do. And after 2 weeks, and I've never done this, and I told her, I said, you have pushed me to the point that I don't even want to help you. You have over pushed, and I am done. Like, I don't even want to, I'm not going to answer another call or text message from you. Like, this is gross to me. Mm-hmm. You have pushed me so far. And I'm like, something that started as feeling good ended up feeling really ugly. Mm-hmm. And I see it all the time, people over negotiating. It's like, dude, you better learn this. That self-awareness thing against people skills. That was the bomb drop on a great piece of advice. What's the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?
Slow down.
Slow down. Hell yeah. My boy Frank. Yeah. Mama says, slow down, you're working too hard, right? You know, so your friends say, hey, slow down, you're working too hard. Right. It's like, no, slow down on that car, make sure it gets done nice, but do it like with some meaning behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah, slow down. Who wants to slow down?
Exactly. That's my thing. I don't know why you want to slow down.
What podcast? The RFN podcast. Right. When do I want it done? Right fucking now. Right fucking now. It's all about speed. It's all about velocity. It's like, I got this book that's coming out, and I was talking about in one little section, which I think I'm going to have to edit out to send my parents a copy, like you're going to have to for your mom on this. And it's because I talked about my parents. They're always saying, you need to slow down, you need to take care of yourself, you need this. I'm a racehorse. I know that. My culture index test, my disc index, I mean, all of my traits say that if I'm confined, like trying to slow down, I'm burning more energy and stress, and just everything goes against who I am. Mm-hmm. Some people are meant to slow down. Go slow. Live your life slow. Go listen to Jimmy Buffett songs and go to Margaritaville. Like, go do that. But you ain't going to have the same shit I got.
Exactly.
You watch me valet at Margaritaville for 30 minutes to get my little sandwich and get out while you sit there all day and admire everybody else's cool shit. But, yeah, dude, like, don't pay attention to people when they say you need to slow down. That's garbage.
It is. It makes no sense to me.
It's because it's how you're wired.
Exactly.
And that's one thing, man. If you're not wired, if you're a slow down kind of guy, if you're a brake pedal kind of guy or girl, if you're if you're the cheapest person in the room, man, you're gonna have a hard time.
Exactly.
Better listen to this podcast. You better, whatever you're doing, if you didn't listen to the multitasking podcast, go listen to the multitasking podcast, and then come back to this one and listen to it when you're not doing anything, and listen good, because Frank Jackson with Frank's Detailing just killed it, did a great job, 22 years old, super respectful. I'm super proud of you. I can't wait to see where you go on your journey. I hope to just watch from the bleachers. Where can people find you on social media?
Instagram is Frank's Detailing _DFW. Facebook's Frank's Detailing.
Okay.
Website just franksdetailingdfw.com.
Yep. So if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth and you want, I mean, this dude polished up my McLaren, and it looks so good. I didn't want to drive it. And I'm telling you, he did such a good job. And I'm a negotiator. And I didn't say a word when I picked it up. I just paid you, right?
Yes, sir.
Because I wouldn't even the results speak for themselves. So it's not a shameless plug. I'm just telling you, if you want your minivan, your Tahoe, your Honda Accord, or your Lamborghini detailed, like he said earlier, he knows how to apply to accommodate each customer, and he just does a killer job. So thank you, Frank, for being here.
Yes, sir.
Audience, I hope that you got a lot out of this. Have a killer day, have a killer week, have a killer life. Don't slow down, speed up, RFN, go ram it, go make your life happen, go chase your dreams, and do big things. Have a great day.